Okay, so without further ado, John, I pass on the presentation to you. And if you need me, I'm, I'm here. Everyone sit back, relax, and enjoy. And this is, of course, meant to be interactive. You should post your questions in the chat, and I'll monitor that. And towards the end of the presentation, there'll be time for Q&A. So, John, without further ado, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. It's great to be back with the organization. I've done a lot of work here. Just 1 minute real quick about myself. I started in business at an early age when I opened up a Domino's pizza franchise in Long Island and out in East Islip in Suffolk County. Had the store for many years, then sold the store, went back to school, got a degree in finance. It's funny because it's been 30 some years and the store's still open, churning away pizzas out there in East Islip. But I also ran a Chamber of Commerce in Philadelphia. And then starting in '09, when Mayor Bloomberg put out the Fast Track Entrepreneur Training Program, I became one of the first instructors for that program. And over time, trained probably about 4,500 to 5,000 entrepreneurs. Was fortunate enough also to get picked up by the Hebrew Free Loan Society of New York and did fast track training for them. They also introduced me to Rabbi Wordy, and I've done a lot of training in both Crown Heights and Borough Park over the last 7, 8 years or so. So it's great to be here. One of the reasons why I do this is because we didn't have programs like this back in the '80s when I was young and starting my business, and ended up making a lot of mistakes. So hopefully we can, number one, help you guys to avoid those mistakes, but also just in general, just give you the support that you need to be successful. So this program, as you see, is brought to you jointly by the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, as well as my business. I'm the person who's selected to give you this program. So at any time, like Rabbi Wordy said, if you had a question, just put it in the chat, or if it's urgent, you can stop me. That's fine. I want to make sure that we're fully interactive. And I'm John, so we can go past that. So what I would like to do is just very briefly go around the room and call on everyone here just to give your name, what's the name of your business, and what does your business do? Just a couple of sentences so that we know the types of businesses that are here. So if you want to just, Rabbi, if you want to just call on folks one by one, and then you guys, when it calls on you, unmute and just your name, what's the name of your business, and what does your business do?
All right, so I'm doing this in no particular order, just off of the screen. So Bela Steinberg, if you could just quickly introduce yourself and your business. By audio. Unmute yourself and just say your name and your business.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was off. Okay, so Bela Steinberg, getting kids on track intervention. So it's home and school support to help kids integrate better, whether it's homeschool, society, or with themselves.
Excellent. Elisheva Marshall.
I don't have a business. I retired from the Brooklyn public school system, the New York City public school system, as a special ed teacher. But I've always been a painter, an artist my whole life. And I wanted to move into doing artwork as a business in order to make money. And yeah, I'm gonna move into that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next, Morty Slavin.
Yeah.
Just quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. So name business is Better Plastic, and what it does is it sells biodegradable utensils.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Everyone, when you're done, if you could just mute yourself again. Okay. Gershon Haft, you're right there. Go ahead, just introduce yourself and your business.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gershon Haft. I do life insurance and financial planning. My brand is Gersh Life, and I actually just launched my website, so I'm really excited to hear about this presentation.
Okay, Schneider Wordy.
Hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me well. I'm just transitioning from my phone to the computer.
We hear you.
But okay, good. So yeah, my name is Schneider Wordy. I'm brother. I run a industrial design agency called BDS Studio, where consumer products, from consumer electronics all the way to home goods, toy design to the market, from idea to manufacturing.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Yes, thank you. Yossi. Yossi? Okay, I guess Drew Jackson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Jackson. I work for DYCD, which is the funder. So I'm just here to kind of observe and, just kind of see the activity or the workshop that's going on.
Excellent. Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Okay, so Rabbi Cohen, do you want to quickly come on and introduce yourself? Rabbi Cohen? All right, one more person just joined, Mr. Hass, Bill Hass. You want to quickly introduce yourself? Bill? I'm joining. Okay.
Still joining.
Okay. All right, so let's just get started, and I guess we'll give them time towards the end for more introductions. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. This is really nice, very good, very diverse group of businesses. So it's a pleasure to be here. And what we're going to cover today is really these 6 items. Number 1 is, why should you take your business online? 2 is, what are just some of the challenges with online business? 3 is, how do you find your best online market? 4 is, how do you prepare your business in order to handle the online sales? And then 5 is, how do you build your online platform? And last, how do you grow your business online? So those are the topic areas that we will be covering today. So when you think about, why should I move my business online? A lot of folks are always saying, well, I'm doing well with my store, or I'm doing well with just on phone, or however that you deliver your service or products to your customers. And there's a couple of really good reasons to build your online presence. Probably the most obvious one is you expand your customer base. So now you can reach a lot more customers than you can by in person or with your direct advertising. So that's really key. The second one is, your business is always open. So even while you're taking a rest or going to sleep, someone can come to your site and order service or products, whatever it is that you sell and do, or find out important information about you. The third one is probably the most important thing as far as maintaining or growing your business. It's where the customers are today. Most people spend a lot more time online, either looking for services or products or buying services or products, than they do the old-fashioned way. When I was young and we opened up a business, everyone would think of a name for their business that began with the letter A. So they would be at the front of the yellow pages in order to move forward, to get the most customers to contact them. Now it's different. Now you have to make sure you come up in a Google search, right? That's the key thing. That's like the yellow pages of today. So customers are online, and they're also looking to get their services from online sources as well, whether it's takeout food or ordering items, products, or whatever the case may be. You want to be where people are looking for you, which is online. And then lastly, it's easier to scale. Think about it from this perspective. When you have a brick and mortar store and you want to scale up, now you got to look, who's next door to me? Can I expand my store? Can I get more space? Do I have to get a bank loan to make this happen? Where am I getting the additional employees from? All of those are the types of challenges that you have from the traditional means for your business. Whereas when you're online, it's all back end. So it's just a matter of you growing your business as you can fulfill the orders. So there's a lot of good reasons to be online, not the least of which is that's where your customers are. Going online creates some challenges, right? There's several things that really we want to work through. And then today we're going to cover some general solutions and kind of move you guys towards those. It's also important for you to follow up with CHJCC because they do have folks on board online who can help you in terms of the one-on-one meetings to help you move your business forward. We'll talk about that at the end of the program. So think about for yourself, if your business is not fully online yet, you have to learn this new way to do business. And it sounds relatively simple, but it's not because it's just our habits. And doing business online is not the same as just taking your existing business and putting it up on the screen. The way that you do business, that's different. What people are looking for and their expectations is different. Even the way that you win customers over changes. Currently, you might have a good conversation with someone and they decide, you know what? I need those solutions from Mr. Wordy. I want to get, I want his design solutions, right? Whereas online, you may not actually speak to your people, and certainly not until after they've decided you're one of the businesses they want to use. So that means, how can I capture the beauty of what I do, the hard work, the good quality, integrity of my business? How can I capture that and put that online so that a person coming to my website, they can feel that, right? That type of difference. The second part about it is maybe you're very good with computers, or maybe you're not. And if you're not, you say, man, what all goes into setting up the online platform? That could be a challenge for me, right? And you start looking at what are the costs involved? How expensive is it to get this set up and moving forward? And then you have to say, okay, well, are my current customers online so that I can bring them and attract them to this site? And how do I attract new customers? Because remember, now you're going to be marketing in a different way. It's not a matter of handing out a flyer or placing an ad in a local community newspaper or anything like that. You have to see, are there affiliates? In other words, are there other people that have a complementary business to what I do, that I can market their business and they can market my business online? Refers, if you need blank, then that's where to go. That's important, and really looking at how do I get those customers. So those are all some of the challenges for you to think of as you are putting your business together online. So one of the keys is, how do I find my best customer online? This is very important. Number one, how well do you know your current customer base? Do you know who they are, their characteristics? Do you know why they buy from you? And if you don't know that, that is something that you should find out as soon as possible, even before you move online. That is a critical component. Who are my current customers and why do they buy from me now? The reason for that is you want to make sure that you're capturing that as you build your online platform, because these are people who are paying, they're voting for you with their dollars. They're letting you know, oh, I love the work that you're doing. I love the product that you provide. And here's how you know I love it, because I keep coming back as a repeat customer. So when you start thinking about those customers, you ask yourself, are they already online? So now I can steer them to my website for business. And then the next key thing is, you're not just going online to keep your current customers. You also want to make sure that you are gaining new customers. So when you think about what your product or service does, who else could it help that you're not helping now? That's probably one of the first questions to ask yourself when you want to expand your customer base. So I want to get new customers. Okay, well, what is it that I'm doing? Well, we see for Bela, for example, I can help people with their home decisions and what they're working with their family. I'm sorry, excuse me, Elishiva. So you look at that, you look at all the different folks and you say, all right, there's a group of people I have not been able to attract to my business. Let me make sure I can grab those folks online. And here's another key thing, defining what is your online market. So in other words, that matters both geographically and also the size. Think of how much business you have today. If you are wildly successful putting your website up and attracting customers, you could double in your business, right? Can you handle that? Can you even physically do it? If what you're doing is a service where you have to go out to someone, you want to make sure you limit it to the geographic area where you're going to go. Maybe you're going to be in the 5 boroughs and the surrounding counties. Maybe you just want to be in Brooklyn or Queens, but you make sure that you're limiting it online so you're not pulling in folks who would be a challenge for you to serve. With Domino's, we had about a 2.5-mile radius of what we could serve and still deliver pizza, a hot pizza to customers, in 30 minutes or less. So that defined it. But for you, take a look at your capacity and you want to understand how far can I go? And also how many customers I can handle. And it really is a balancing act to match my marketing with my capacity. Because one of the worst things, even worse than having slow sales, is having more sales than you can handle. Because what happens then is you can hurt your reputation in the field of what you're doing. And once that's done, you have to work twice as hard to regain the customer's respect and their belief in you. So when you think about this, think very carefully, who do I want to attract and why? And the last thing I'll say about that is you should have a very good idea of who your competitors are and what are your advantages over your competitors. We handled that a little quite in detail in a session last year, but just in general, just to reiterate that, why are they buying me instead of these other companies? So that has to come out in your online presence.
So John, maybe we should just stop right now before we move on and just take questions from people.
Certainly.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question. So the one-on-one is one part of it, but let's say I want to change the venue. I want to put it online. Let's say I want, instead of doing one-on-one, let's say I want to teach, or I want to chunk down and take a wider audience and be able to give over like techniques and tools and methods, right?
Yep.
So it's like a kind of a different platform, and it's a different venue. So how do I make the conversion?
Excellent question. Very good. So in your one-on-one meetings, what you should focus on is not necessarily your process of how you handle the one-on-one meeting, but what is it that you are actually delivering to the customer? So you should start by writing down what are all the benefits the customer gets from working from you. And then that's how you translate that to online. Now you're going to look and say, all right, doing this online, clean sheet of paper. Now, not considering the way I did it in the past, how could I deliver that same thing? Like, for example, maybe in your one-on-ones, you are finding out what someone's challenges are, and then you're referring them to resources, right? So online, you can do that exact same thing, but you're going to do it in a different manner. You might have them, describe it and put it out there, and you might have an electronic version of the resources and what works. And you have to also have the descriptions of the resources that captures them. So another key consideration is it still going to be me working with them online, or are you going to fully automate it so that they would come in and find those solutions as well? So you may do it where parts of it you automate for like the basic questions, routine questions that folks ask you on a regular basis. Oh, I'll list those on a page on my site. For these resources, here's a description, here's the contact person. Tell them Ms. Steinberg said, to give you a call so they know that they're coming from a really reliable source. And then for the more in-depth counseling or therapy, then you're going to use your site to schedule the one-on-one times with them, like via Zoom or another way. But definitely start with the benefits and then see how can I deliver those benefits in an online platform. Does that help you?
Yeah. I mean,
Great.
I personally, I've created
let's
a
move on.
lot of tools, like a whole tool base. So if I'm the resource person, then I would be front and forward. Then comes the next question, of course, like how do you find the resources to help me put that up there and to be able to, you understand?
Yeah, that's a lot of research. But once you put it together, the other thing you have, one last thing before we move on,
But-
is check to make. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rabbi. What are you? I was going to say the last thing is make sure that the process they're utilizing.
I was going to say, let's keep this concise so that we can move. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure the process they're utilizing is easy for them. So that's the last advice I'll give you on that. All right.
Thank you.
Sure. So what I'd like to do now is for you guys to really, hopefully all of you received the worksheet. And if you don't have a worksheet, you can just do a scratch sheet of paper or open up a Microsoft Word on your computer. Just want to take about 5 minutes. We'll just go into smaller groups for you guys to, well, actually 10 minutes, write down who is your current customer, are they online now, and who are the new customers you would like to reach. So we'll take 5 minutes for you to write that down, and then for 5 minutes, share with your partners in the group, and then we'll come back together. Does anyone have any questions on those instructions? All right, let me. Oh, you know what? I don't think I'm able to do the breakout room, so we can do it. You know what? Why don't you guys take 5 minutes now, and we'll just do it. We'll do it here, so we don't have to go to the breakout
Yeah,
room.
we didn't. Yeah, let's keep it here. Let's
Okay.
everyone do it.
Keep everyone together.
We'll select a few people that want to volunteer.
Yep. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes, and then who's your current customer? Are they online now? And who are the new customers you would like to reach?
When you say that, are they online now? What does that actually mean? Do they have a web presence with regards to your website and LinkedIn?
Do you work with them? Do they communicate to you online? Like, do they order things from your website? Do you have Zoom meetings with them, or is all of your work face to face with them? Give another 30 seconds, then I'll ask for volunteers. Okay, would someone like to volunteer and describe your current customer? Do you have any interactions with them online now? And who are the new customers that you would like to reach? Do we have a volunteer?
I'll
Sure.
volunteer.
Bill. Okay, Bill first, and then Mr. Wordy second.
Okay, he can go first if he wants.
No,
No.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So my current customer, I do computer consulting. So my current customer base is usually small businesses, less than 25 employees that don't want to deal with their technology and computer stuff and just wants it all outsourced, whether it be buying stuff or keeping it going, tech support, maintenance, networking, all that type of stuff. And then are they online? Yes, most are, because they're using either online tools, they have Gmail, they have Office, they have, a lot of the online tools. They need to do things for their vendors or with their vendors. They need to order stuff. Everyone has an Amazon account, a Gmail, a Facebook, so a lot of them are. And then what are the customers you would like to reach? Continue that type of thing, more businesses that size and, ideally closer to me. I have customers right now all over the place in New York, New Jersey, as well as one or two other places.
Perfect. So a lot of your work will be, really a good fit with transferring to online.
Thanks.
Okay, great. And then Mr. Wordy.
Great. So, yeah, currently we work with sole entrepreneurs and small business owners, across multiple industries. They are definitely online. We provide a service. These presentations and meetings along the way. So definitely online.
Okay.
We'd like to meet bigger corporations, companies, bigger budgets for product. I do like the point that but closer in geography to me, we do have clients that are spread between New York, Miami, East Coast. The clients is possible.
Okay, so I got that you wanted to get to bigger companies. So then the questions you ask yourself is number one, making sure that you have the capacity to handle the bigger companies. And then number two, making sure that the online presence you have matches the same type of companies those larger companies are that they expect. That is kind of the course of doing business with the larger corporations. So, all right, thank you both for your volunteer. I'll make sure I send a gift certificate via email. Thank you, appreciate it. So,
I'll take it.
When talking about preparing your business for online sales, one of the things you think of, and this is something I was just asking Mr. Wordy, is that what are your current restrictions for growth? Are there any bottlenecks? So in other words, is there any part of your business where you need to make sure you increase the capacity of it in order to handle the additional business? So then you say, how do I fix them? And then, as we did earlier, really going through and saying, all right, with Ms. Steinberg, what are the process? How does my process change online versus in person? And from those three questions, that's how you start building your growth plan. If you can answer all of those positively, you're good, you're fine, great. Then it's time to move on to the next step. If not, then you build a plan to address one of those three things. So think about in your business, what are the things that you need to improve to get ready for online sales? Is there anyone here that can think of an area that they need to increase their capacity, something that they need to grow in their business in order to get them ready to go online? Just one volunteer.
The logistics of bookkeeping, keeping them
Okay.
financial.
Very good. So at this section, at this stage, you're kind of doing like a global scan of your company, looking at all the things that you do and think about, could I double sales and handle it at a high level? That's what's important. So as you start building and you say, how do I build my online platform? Here are a couple of suggestions for you. Number one, always take a look at the websites for your competition. One of the beauties about online versus door to door is if when you're all in store and it's brick and mortar, it's harder to get to all those different stores, see what it feels like. Then after a while, they're going to start recognizing you. You're like, oh, I know Miss Marshall. What is she doing coming in my store when she has the same store? I used to hire, mystery customers. That was one of the things that I would do, to go along there. But now with it online, all you have to do is go to the website. You can even create a new email address, customer, at gmail.com or something, whatever. You could create a new email address and sample some of those websites, walk through it, see what type of customer support you get, really identify where they're strong and where they have areas of challenge. Because then when you do that, the areas of challenge are things you can make sure are top flight in your business, and that'll help you grow and gain customers. The second part of it is creating your online content. If you notice, I've asked you several times about, what are the benefits your customers receive now? Because you want to present that online. And one of the tools that I use is if you do a survey of your customers and they start giving you compliments, usually what happens is over time, several of the compliments come back to you. You start seeing them repeating. Guess what? Those are the key things you need to mention about your business online, because paying customers loved it and that's what they said. So really creating that online content, and you'll do that by thinking about what are the best benefits you give to your customer, and by looking at the competition to see what's expected there. Now, if you're good with stuff, you can do it yourself and create the content and move it along. But for a lot of us who are not skilled at building websites or creating online content, you might want to hire an expert, or at least speak to one of the experts that the council has. You can hire a web designer and then build your site. And in your workbook, it's asking you to put target dates for this stuff because it's important. If not, times if we don't put dates down for when we're going to do things by, we get so busy in the day-to-day work that we're doing that stuff slips by. So we don't want that to happen. So as I mentioned, look at the dates in your workbook and reach out for help, right? If you need help, we can, guide you to some help. So how are you growing your online customers? The first thing you have to do is understand it's different building sales online than it is in person or over the phone or anything along those lines. How can you capture really great things about your business that someone can just click on and see? Maybe it's a short video. If you're doing something where you're creating something, it could be a short video. It could be a short, like 30-second testimonial from your customers who are happy, getting that on there. Finding out the websites and the type of places where your customers generally go. Are they sports fans? Are they this fan? Are they design fans? And making sure you're only advertising in spots where your customers may be. You don't want to advertise somewhere where, very few of the people who are interested in what you're selling are, and you'll end up spending a ton of money and getting no return on that. So that's very important. Make sure you set aside money to sell online. Even though people tell you the internet, it's free, you can get on there and sell, to really get customers, you should invest some dollars in the right places and the right type of ads, Google ads, whatever the case may be. Get someone who is skilled at social media marketing for sales, not just for presence. You just don't want people to know that you're out there. You want them to buy from you. Third is something I mentioned earlier. Make sure you do your marketing for the rate that you can handle. Don't go out there and get more business than you can handle, or the whole thing will collapse. You'll get overworked, overwhelmed, and you'll just get disgusted with your business and not want to do it anymore. And then lastly, as you start growing your online sales, make sure you do a lot, and I mean a lot, of follow-up with your customers. Talk to them and ask them, how was the experience? How can I make the experience better? Those are key things for you to consider as you're transitioning to online. You really want to make sure that you are handling them at the same or better level of customer satisfaction than you were handling before. Never be afraid of feedback from your customers. They're going to make sure that your business stays afloat and that it grows if you listen to them, right? Listen, sometimes they might have a complaint which isn't totally accurate or might not be true, but listen anyway and handle that to the best of your ability. It's absolutely important. So let's go over some key items for us. Number one is defining your online market. Who are they? Who are these people? What sites are they at? What are the best ways for me to reach them? Because that'll help you determine how to advertise and market towards them. The second part, can you dedicate time from your busy weeks to set aside to build up your company's capacity to be able to handle the sales? You always build the capacity up first before you go out marketing to get the sales. So think about maybe like every Monday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., you set that aside and you're going to work on your company, not in your company. The third thing is building up a professional looking platform. One of the beauties nowadays is you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to build a really sharp looking online platform. There's so many templates out there, GoDaddy, there's a ton of sources out there that you can build something that looks professional and sharp without spending a ton of money. The next one is really creating your social media sales plan. It's different from your other sales plan. I'm going to the places where my customers are. And then launch, get out there, promote, make it happen. And then follow up with your customers for satisfaction. Those are some key items. There's a chart towards the end of your workbook where it asks for dates. When are you going to get this done by? And then there's also some resources there to help you create that. Questions? Questions, ladies, gentlemen?
Well, I think, in other words, let's turn this practical over here. In other words, right? You gave a very good theoretical framework. And everyone here that came here has a particular goal, so maybe the questions that people could ask, like in terms of how do you turn, from the presentation, what are your questions in terms of taking that to making your, online presence practical? If anyone wants to ask those questions.
Sure, I could jump in.
Yep.
So as far as online presence, is there a certain platform that you suggest, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook ads, Google, that has worked best for client generation, I would say?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And what I've found is, Instagram is like a staple where you have to be, but Instagram is also great for anything that pictures show up well on, right? So of course, if you have any type of food product or design, art, things of that nature, they really work well on there. For services, I really find LinkedIn is still a great platform, even though it's, folks my age and stuff. But even with that, what I will find is that, for example, the types of service companies that we have on here, LinkedIn is a very good platform because it's where business people go to look at other legitimate businesses. So I found that one really good. For things where you're trying to attract the younger people, certainly, a lot of them will use TikTok and they'll use some of these other ones. But for them, even for them, I think a lot of them are still on Instagram. That's highly important. And then for some professions, depending upon what you're doing, there are actual sites that a lot of folks go to for information and exchange, and those are important to go there as well. So for each one of you, you're going to have a different mix of which platforms work best for you than others, depending upon, the age of the folks you're trying to reach and the types of services that you're providing. But that was an excellent question.
I would just say, by the way, just to, some people think once they make a website, they have to their marketing has to be exclusively online.
Great point.
There's this, you have to forget that there's a human element. So you make marketing and people see you, but then you've got to do a sales call, do a sales email, find a way to reach these people and talk to them. That's really, has to be a hybrid of both. Just, making ads and just, putting out messages alone doesn't always bring people in. Sometimes you have to break that barrier. A lot of people have like a psychological barrier to doing outbound marketing where they call people or message them directly, but you got to do both. Sometimes you get lucky and people reach out to you, but a lot of, you have to plan for both.
No, I agree, Rabbi. That is a great point because a lot of times that outreach, that personal outreach you do in addition to the online presence is what closes them. That is what gets you the sale. So if you go to my website, you're going to see Childress Business Consulting. Oh, that's nice. That guy looks decent. He's got a decent team. They've done good work. Okay, maybe I'll utilize him. But when we get on a phone call together or we sit down for a cup of coffee together, that's what usually can bring you over the top. So I agree, that is an excellent point. Do not forget about the old way of doing it or in it and how it supports the new way. Some more questions.
Yes, does anyone else have in terms of practical, what are the obstacles to the success of taking your business online? Anyone have any practical questions associated with that?
I have a quick question. My
Yes.
name's Bill. I have a website right now being done by a third party, and
Mhm.
they throw in like a blog and stuff like that. And I'm having a challenge. I'm working with a score mentor as well. And basically, what happens is they're concerned that I'm not getting the SEO that I should. So I'm just trying to figure out, without getting too technical, how to balance, the information on your site, blogs, SEO, and like you said, you want to have people find you, but it's kind of like going into a Home Depot versus like a small hardware store. The small hardware store, they have 10 aisles. At a big Home Depot, you need a car to get around or a golf cart,
Yeah, it's a very good question. So just for those of you who may not be as up on the computer terms, SEO, search engine optimization, making sure that your site can be found out there. You're not just lost out there, so you really want to take a look at that from that perspective. I think that that's one of the things when you're doing it from that perspective, you want to make sure these folks are finding you, but you also want to make sure that the information you're providing is the most relevant to them. That is a key consideration for that. What other challenges do you have, Bill, on that?
What happens is I'm in the IT business, like I mentioned briefly before, and there's so many people who do that. So like if you would say IT consultant, New Jersey or New York,
Right, you're going to get hundreds
thousands
of them.
yeah, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of
thousands of them even. Yes.
and it's trying to figure out the key words. Like I've gone on some websites, I'm sure other people have too, where you see on the website somehow embedded or whatever, they have like 50 or 100 different search terms. So
Right,
I feel
right.
they might have computer help, computer tech, computer IT, computer remote support, computer this, computer that, and they throw all the terms either into their website itself or it's at the bottom, like, where there's the contact us or whatever, there's like
Yeah.
40, 50 terms just floating and it gets crazy.
No, that's a great point. So there are folks who their main course of business is search engine optimization. So they help that happen, right? But you want to find the ones that do that for IT companies. So when you're looking for services to help you, like someone building your site or helping with SEO, make sure they do that in your industry and then ask them for some of the companies they've helped and try Googling what that company does and see if they come up, right? To see for yourself how well that works.
Okay.
So making sure that you get that specific and say, listen, I need help with SEO for a computer consulting company, period. Have you done that before? You tell me what are the keywords, right? The other thing is much harder. That's longhand, which is looking at all the sites that come up at the top and see what are the key things you see from site to site. Like do a Google search, the top 20 that come up, what are the key things? But the person you're hiring, if you're paying someone, that's what she should be doing, or he should be doing, right?
Sure.
You need them to remember, and this goes for all consultants that you guys hire. Ask them, what is it specifically you're going to do to move me forward? And how do I grade you? What is the result? What's the outcome I'm going to get from paying you? And if they can't explain that to you, and if they don't produce that outcome to you, then you shouldn't bring them back. Like, for example, if 75% of you said that, you didn't learn anything from this session, next month, Rabbi Wordy and Rabbi Cohen will have someone else here talking, right? But it's the same thing when you guys are hiring consultants. Make sure they fully understand what you need and have them talk back to you, right? Repeat back to you their specific plan with details, how they're going to create that.
I want to just add two things to what you said. First of all, by the way, just a little hack, which is important. If you have an actual physical office, you make a Google local account. So if people search for you, there's SEO as a way of ranking across the whole world, but there's people search for you on a local search, at least you'll come up
Right.
because of your address. So that's just a play. You always make sure your address is listed on. You have a Google store account, basically. So this way, at least the local people will find you. But number two is you have to also, and this is what goes back to John said about your strategy. Are you a lot of this is applicable to a lot of service-based businesses as opposed to like online stores. If your whole business is exclusively online, then you really have to, that's. But if you're a service-based business, if you're part of your, if your goal is to get all your customers from online, that's a tall order. That's especially if you're competing against thousands and thousands of other IT companies that so Google's them, then if SEO becomes very expensive and keywords and all these things because it's a very populated target. It has to be a holistic strategy. If you have existing customers, then your website is one piece of your online presence, gives you a professionality and it's a piece of your marketing, but fighting to get online recognition and getting all your customers from online is that's a tremendous amount of work. If that's going to be your marketing strategy, you have to have very deep pockets to spend a lot of money
Big time.
to get that
Big
attention.
time.
You have to get that attention. On the other hand, if you already have a customer base, and you just want to build on this, hopefully a few people might find you, but really it's coming from referrals and that type of thing. That becomes a mixture, and you have to decide. That's I think the main message that John has here today is you have to make this plan. You have to decide how important your website is to generating your new customers, and you have to go in open-eyed in how much money you need to spend to attract those people. So that it's
it is a lot of it is definitely a lot there, but being specific with your dollars matters. It really does. Ms. Steinberg, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So let's say as you said, like the SEO, you want to outsource and you want to buy. So number one is how do you're like the world is a big wide web, right? How do you know who to trust and how do you know like how much is too much and how do you know what the market rate is? Because that's a scary piece because they could be coming from, these foreign countries where there's no,
Sure. I whenever possible, I like utilizing people that other folks that I know in business have utilized successfully. That's why one of the reasons why I like LinkedIn, because if you look up the company on LinkedIn and see their connections, you'll see some of your folks who are connected with them. So then you can reach out to them and get their direct experience on there. So yeah, and then if you don't know who to go to at all, just see if you have other business friends, who did they use and did they have a good experience, right? One of the beauties about being an entrepreneur is a lot of times you find yourself around other entrepreneurs, such as this program. And, of course, given health concerns, this would be great if we were in person because after class, you might stop, Bill or Mr. Wordy or somebody and say, hey, who do you use for blank, right? But listen, the other way also as well is don't forget that, CHJCC has a lot of good resources and referrals. And also the city of New York does. I tell people this all the time. I teach in multiple states, multiple countries, and New York City really does support its businesses better than just about any city I've been across the globe. Sometimes the resources are buried and you got to go find them. Like for years, people didn't know about CIBL, the Science and Industry Business Library. It's not just a regular library. The people that work there will actually listen to your business problem and work with you to find the information and resources that you need. So there was a link to that at the bottom of your workbook as well. But you do have some great resources in New York City. So take advantage of them. And then if all else fails, look, you can call me, send me an email or whatever, but certainly reach out, to CHJCC first because they have some really good people on staff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I hope everyone looks at that workbook, put some target dates down there, because if you don't put that target date down there, a lot of times it'll just slip away because you'll be so busy. And while we want to get you guys great information during this time, we also want to make sure it helps you improve your business. So don't ever worry about, reaching out. Reach out to us at any time, and let's see how we can help you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. This was a wonderful presentation. Good to see all of you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
We'll
you.
email you, yes, the recording from
Thank
this, and be in touch for future webinars. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Take
Thank you.
care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.